program. So wherever you may be, if you are in Benue State, I'll ask you a very big question. If you are in Zamfara State, stand by. If you are in Ekiti State, just take a seat and we will be asking some critical questions. If you are in Nigeria and you are outside of the country, what exactly works in that place in terms of police in the area? So if you are in some parts of the country where we've been experiencing killings, Nasarawa, Benue State, Zamfara State, Plateau State, let me ask you, what do you think could be the solution to the issues of insecurity and the killings around you? Okay, let's bring it on. If you are in Ekiti State, election will happen on Saturday with the kind of deployment that you've seen and the scenario playing itself out in and around the country. What exactly do you think? So let's get back to the conversation now. We'll get some practical example. Joining us from our Abuja studio is a British policeman, Vince Onyekwelu. He will be talking to us at some point on the program. But let's get back with our guest here, Professor Anthony Kila and Mr. Ezenwa. Very pleasant gentlemen. Thank you so much for your thoughts on the program so far. With what we're seeing, you were on the trajectory. And perhaps will allow you to learn. And what is very instructive is the kind of situation around this country, perhaps different from other countries. So if we are we're muting some of these examples into our country, we need to take a very similar situation to fight a similar problem. So what exactly do you think will work for us with the kind of insecurity that we face in Nigeria?
No, look, there is nothing new in the world anymore. Most of the things we encounter have happened before. When we want to adopt policies or programs for a country, the two ways to look at it is to look at what has happened in time and space. In time is historically, in space is comparative studies of what is happening elsewhere. You take those two things and then you look at your own peculiar situation and come up with a margin situation. Generally, the idea is this: the closer interventions are to people, the better they work, whether it's police, whether it's health or construction.
All right.
Whatever it is. So you look at it and you say, we want to bring police closer to people, right? What are our fears? What are our concerns? Then you sit down and you look at the situation, at solutions to each of those things. The best way to treat governors and those in power is to always remember that even if the leader of today is good, the next one might be mad, might be fraudulent, or might be just die. So you create a situation that goes beyond man. It's not that difficult.
All right, Mr. Wago, the bill is on the floor of the Senate. Now, it looks like some kind of progress. The fear is that will this sail through? In the 7th Assembly, there was a constitutional amendment that didn't happen.
At the National Conference, the issue of state police was raised. But what I'm saying is that I just hope that we're not doing this because it fits the narrative of the moment. That there's a whole lot of thinking, that academics, that researchers will take the pains. And that's my concern, that a lot of thinking is not going into some of the things that we throw out.
It's not easy, you should help them. Don't tell them not to do it. Go there and tell them, help them to think. Push them to think. Don't tell them not to do state police.
No, I didn't say so.
Okay.
No, but you've not heard, you didn't listen to me. I said we do need state police.
We need state police. Good.
We do need state police. But what kind of mechanics?
Well, in my own estate, we have our own kind of police.
Absolutely.
Whether I live in Lagos,
I don't like trivializing this.
No, I'm not trivializing. I'm telling you, the reason why I'm saying this is that a lot of Nigerians.
When you talk about your estate, you have people in certain places that get people who have brooms and hang them and say, when armed robbers come, they will start sweeping.
What is police? What is policing in any way?
We need to get to a point in which we do wrestle this out of the kind of leadership that we have, the kind of monopolization of power that you see in our system by just a tiny few of people. Even the federal police.
Will this constitutional amendment go through this time around?
No, we
are going into elections.
Wait, it's possible. You are having that conversation in the Senate. I hope there is a public hearing that is truly public, that will have people who feel these issues come around the table and make input into it. We had a security retreat by the Senate that revolved around those who are even the problem. people who are the problem themselves positioning to become a solution. You understand? So you must come to a point where you open this space for a conversation that is holistic, that everybody, different levels of stakeholdership engages with it, and that's very important.
All right, let's get some practical experience now. Let's go to our Abuja studio where British police, Mr. Vince Onyekwelu, is joining us now to give us some practical experience on what is happening, what he is saying. He's working on other crimes, and perhaps he lives in Nigeria and is maybe looking at what could be the solution. Mr. Onyekwelu, thank you so much for your time on the program today. What do you think? This conversation has really started on the floor of the Senate. What do you think is our problem, and how do we solve it?
Had 2-3 bills. So what are they talking? In my
No, they will not abuse it, because the current bill says that there's going to be a National Police Service Commission that will work with the state police service commission, that will work with the
audio delay issues that our engineers are working, and it will resolve it. I mean, it's good to get some practical solutions, and I would like us to get those perspectives from Mr. Onyekwelu. But let's get back to Adwekiti here with what we're seeing on the ground presently, and let's bring the issues of policing elections and securing the people in elections. What do you think? 30,000 police alone? We've not talked about other security agencies.
Well, I think the first thing to say about the idea of deploying so much people, it needs deploying more people because of election is a very sad thing. It's barbaric. It shows a very high level of underdevelopment. Because you see, the whole essence of democracy is to make choice through peaceful means. I have a dream that one day in Nigeria we should have elections where nobody will be stopped from going to work.
When Ghana does elections, they don't go.
It doesn't stop
They
anything.
don't shut the city.
You see, we have to push governors to realize that, but we have to also make citizens be more conscious of themselves, to realize that just because one person or a few people are sorting out their own ambition, that shouldn't make the whole lot of us stop our lives.
Mr. Nwagu, what makes us different as a people? If Ghana holds election...
Trust threshold.
Trust threshold.
In Ghana that you are talking about, election materials are given to electoral officials to take to their homes.
And sometimes they ride on motorbikes.
If you give anybody electoral materials to take to his home, you would not meet him alive the next day here.
In the US,
we need to raise the trust threshold for institutions. We need to also understand that election is a civil matter, and that the police in engaging elections must come with the consciousness that it is a civil engagement. Okay, so the whole lot of this has to do with different stakeholdership in election. The people themselves must determine that they want peaceful elections.
Do you think this very one will be peaceful?
Yes, it's going to be peaceful. We see evidence of that. Like Prof just said, a few people sorting out their individual issues, engaging different kind of theatrics does not, envelop the whole environment. Right. We need to deal with issue of security from a civil point of view.
All right, we must go now. I must thank you for coming on the program. Professor Anthony Kila, it's a pleasure having you. Mr. Ezenwa, our very good friends at Channels Television. I would like to apologize to our viewers for not being able to bring you the thoughts and views of Mr. Vince Onyekwelu. He's an experienced ex-British police officer who would have brought in practical experience into the conversation. But we assure you, we will bring him so that we will bring the depth of his experience and knowledge in these issues to the fore. Well, that's how far we can go on the program. Don't forget, Channels Television is on the ground across all the local government areas to bring you all the details of the APT governorship election. But for now, I'm sure Wakimalo everyone. Bye-bye.